The other branch, the anthropoids, developed into monkeys, apes, and ultimately us, humans.
Well, the advantage of having a skeleton this complete is hopefully it will let us make the connection to what came later. In a sense, studying primate evolution is all about looking at the diversity living today and tracing that back through time. We're interested here to see how apes and monkeys trace back, how lemurs trace back, and which of these, or all of them, can we find in the Eocene.
But what is Ida? Is she our ancestor, or is she on the non-human line, a lemur? Any partial primate remains discovered at Messel so far have been described as lemurs.
The first guess, of course, because of the other specimens that's found from the Messel locality, is to say that, okay, this is a primitive lemur.
Most lemurs are the size of monkeys and have similar habits and lifestyles, but they are an evolutionary side branch. They've hardly changed fundamentally in 47 million years. If Ida is closely related to modern lemurs, then she cannot be a human ancestor. It's a critical stage of the investigation.
It's really important to compare this fossil to living lemurs, because living lemurs have many not so advanced traits, and a lot of the traits we see in lemurs today is the same things that we should look for in the Eocene when all primates were really primitive.
Dental expert Dr. Holly Smith is at Duke Lemur Center in North Carolina. This is the world's largest research center for the non-human line of primates, and here they have a great variety of them, including tarsiers, loris, and lemurs. Is there one that is particularly similar to Ida?
Messel primate isn't exactly like anything living, and one of the questions is it general enough to have been a possible ancestor for the higher primates, the apes and monkeys, and perhaps these animals too, or was it already especially off on the line to lemurs?
But if you want to study one of these creatures, there's a problem: getting it to keep still. Fortunately, this loris is being examined under sedation by the center's vet.
And we're doing a physical exam, his annual physical exam under sedation.
By having a really close look at this animal, we can see characteristics that proves it is not our close relative.
Most of their toes have toenails like we would have, but this second digit has a long grooming claw.
All lower primates have such a grooming claw on the hind foot.
They can use that for grooming their fur, and you can see in primates got a really lush, thick coat of fur, and keeping that in condition is important.
The vet continues by checking this creature's teeth, Holly's particular expertise. He reveals another important characteristic that places it on the non-human branch of evolution.
So he has the upper incisors here, the canines, and then on the bottom his incisors and canines form this tooth comb.
These animals have unusual front teeth in their lower jaw. Where we and apes and monkeys have separate front teeth, these creatures have a tooth comb.
some of the lemurs' specialization used for getting food, but it's also used for grooming fur and grooming each other.
The big question for Jörn and the team is, does Ida belong with them or with us? Does she have the grooming claw and a tooth comb?
So looking at this toe here, there's certainly, it's just as wide as the others. There's not a pointy toe tip like you expect in lemurs to see when there's a toilet claw present. There's nothing like this here. This is also nail bearing. One of the other main lemur traits is of course a tooth comb. And we would expect this of course in the front of the snout. And there's no tooth comb here at all. There's nothing like that in this specimen.
Ida's skeleton is over 95% complete, so the team know that these features haven't been lost in collection or in preparation. Put simply, she never possessed them. Unlike the other fossils found in the ancient Messel pit, she is not a lemur. She must be a member of another group. Could she be in a group connected to us?
In the beginning, we all thought we are just dealing with a certain kind of fossil lemur. And step by step, our ideas changed, and more anthropoid traits turned up, and now we are really thinking of relationships to anthropoids, to hominoids finally, and at the end to man.
The team have shown that Ida is not on the lemur line of evolution. But is she on the human line? Jörn and the team want to look to the forests of East Africa and our closest relative, the chimpanzee.
If we look at the anthropoid primates, we have to go to Africa to look at chimpanzees, to see something that's more advanced, more specialized in a way that's a little bit more like human traits. It's wonderful. You can compare them and you can compare their skeletal features with Ida.
Ida shares the classic primate characteristics with chimps. They are quadrupeds, walking on all fours, as she would have done in the ancient forest. Strikingly, their hands and feet are almost identical, 5 fingers and 5 toes. And her opposable big toe, the trait that first identified her to Jörn as a primate, is mirrored in the